Episode 13, Comeback Mechanics. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us as we explore the fighting game genre. Today we'll discuss the controversial topic of comeback mechanics in fighting games, those mechanics that help the losing side turn the tables. In most team games, characters are built to need their teammates' assistance. In these games, the last character standing normally doesn't have the capability to defeat a full team, because they lack tools. Therefore, these games may need some sort of comeback mechanic by necessity. The alternative is to keep playing a match when the result had already been decided. Tweaking the effectiveness of such a comeback mechanic is hard, since you just want to give the last character a fighting chance, and nothing more. But that is a topic for another day. In 1v1 fighting games, the issue is much simpler. Since you keep all your tools even as you take damage, the games possess a natural ability to perform exciting comebacks via player skill alone. Comebacks like this, without any helping hand, are always the most satisfying ones, both for players and spectators. The obvious conclusion is that 1v1 fighting games don't naturally need comeback mechanics. And yet, comeback mechanics are still implemented in many contemporary titles. This is done purely to attract new players to a video game genre that's considered extremely hard and complicated. The idea is that if new players think they have a chance to win, these players will stick around long enough to actually improve instead of being frustrated from losing all the time and quitting. It's all about providing a feeling of hope to keep new players motivated. But good players dislike mechanics that force them to play very differently, and that sometimes allow lesser players to steal rounds from them. If a game still has to include a comeback mechanic of some kind, we think that the best approach is to have a comeback mechanic with the smallest actual influence on the match as possible. Since creating comeback mechanics that make the game better rather than worse is hard, the ideal solution would be to only create false impressions. The gut system in Gear Xrd is a great example of this. The lower the life bar gets, the less damage you take. Because the defense modifiers keep updating, even between the hits of a combo, the effect is mostly visual. This means that the life bars create false impressions of close matches, and the victories with low life, when that last portion actually represents a lot of health. This fake comeback mechanic is great, because the real effects it has on the game are pretty small. The biggest one is that you'll be using slightly different combos to score a kill, consisting of many small hits, instead of regular combos. The gut system also doesn't affect block damage, so zoning stays effective throughout the entire match. Such a system is preferable to forcing the winning player to start playing extra defensive, just to bait a big invincible comeback move each and every round. Now let's examine a similar system implemented to be very prominent in how the game is played, the Awakening system in Persona 4 Arena. When the life bar reaches 35%, it changes color and the character gains several big benefits. Mainly, an incredible boost in defense, reducing all damage to only 62.5%. Awakening also increases the size of the super gauge, grants super meter, and unlocks a new super move. Awakening doesn't activate during a combo, and combined with its big benefits, this creates a problem. The game actively punishes players for reducing their opponent's life bar from above 35% to below 35%, via poking, zoning, chipping, etc. The only action that's rewarded is perfectly executing a huge combo that outright kills the opponent before they ever get a chance to enter Awakening, or at least a combo that forces them to activate Awakening with the smallest remaining life possible. This system makes the game extra hard for lower level players who can't do huge combos, and reduces the variety in valid playstyles at high level play. Comparing the two life bar systems serves as a good example of why less is more when it comes to comeback mechanics. We think it would be better to have Awakening activate even mid-combo, like the gut system, and design the rest of the game accordingly. In other games, comeback mechanics usually involve getting access to a huge move, which sports some defensive properties as well. While these moves are highly punishable, they still influence the game in a negative way. They are usually implemented so that the burden is on the attacker rather than defender. The defender only needs to mash the move, while the attacker needs to perfectly execute the links and meaty setups just to be able to attack safely. This may be easy for good players, who are already sticking with the game anyway, but can cause great frustration for low-level players. And if there is no way around the comeback move anyway, the winning player is forced to play extra defensive towards the end of each and every round. Street Fighter V features one possible solution to this by switching from Ultra moves to the V system. The V system's biggest achievement is that it splits the defensive qualities of Ultras from their damage and forces you to choose between the two. So you gain meter from taking damage, which you can use on either V reversals or V triggers. V reversals get you out of bad situations, but don't do huge damage and don't really turn the tables of the match. And while the effectiveness of V triggers still requires constant tweaking, they are offensive tools rather than defensive ones. Instead of having invincibility, they allow you to cancel any move, and are often used proactively by cancelling longer ranged normals. If a game like Tekken 7 switched its Rage Art moves with a similar, nuanced system, we think it would be an even more enjoyable game. In the next episode, we'll give you our theory about what made some games from the past last so long competitively, alongside newer titles. Until then, take some time to think about what we presented. And if you liked this video, make sure to subscribe for more episodes. 何が出るかな